Welcome to another edition of Super Supply Saturday. Now, as you can see, I have quite a lot on my mat. Today we're going to talk about adhesives. I have a lot of adhesives here, and what you're seeing is not even all that I have. Now, first thing I want to tell you, you don't have to have all these adhesives. I have quite a few because a lot of them are leftovers from when I had my store several years ago, and I just haven't gotten rid of them all. And then some of them are ones that I've tried, and some of them are nearly running out. So I just want to run through them quickly. My opinion is there are basically two different types of adhesives. There are the adhesives that you're going to use for just your paper crafts. Bonding paper to paper, basically. Sometimes you can bond lighter weight things with your tapes and things. Sometimes you can't. But I would say that a lot of your things, they're just for paper to paper. The other type is for bonding paper to chipboard or embellishments to your paper. And so those are the basic two categories, and then from there there's just an explosion of categories. So I'm going to show you some less common ones that I have, things that I don't use very often, and then we'll go to ones that I use all the time. This is a double-sided photo and document tape. It's just something that I was trying out when I had my store. It's made by Scotch. I'm assuming it's still available. And it's not one that I've used often, but it's like a regular roll of Scotch tape. You bring it down, and only it's double-sided, so then you can stick it to your piece of paper or whatever you're using here, and then peel off the back, and there's your adhesive. And it is acid-free, and this is also very old and not working really well anymore. The next type that I have here is vellum tape. Now, vellum is different to work with. It's a lot of fun to work with, but you do have to take some special precautions. And even using vellum tape is not perfect, but it's better. Most of your adhesives will show through your vellum because vellum is translucent. And so this one is supposed to not be as noticeable. There are a lot of other tips and tricks you can use for putting vellum on your pages or on your cards, and maybe someday we'll make some cards and stuff with vellum. It's so pretty, but this is just one that does make it a little bit better than your normal adhesives. So it's something that I keep around for when I use vellum, but it's not something that I use often because I don't use vellum often. This is a different type of adhesive. Again, this is something that I had when I was trying out things for my store. I don't even know if this one's available anymore. It's by Thermoweb, it looks like, and it's a sticky dot adhesive. It's sheets of adhesive that you could put a die cut on. You could take it apart, put your die cut on, and basically turn it into a sticker. The same idea as a Xylem, but not exactly. Sorry about that. My cat just decided to jump into the window and then fell. So those are some that I don't use often. This is by Provocraft. This is terrifically tacky tape. It's a little bit stronger bond than, say, your regular paper tape, so that you can put some embellishing. I think I've seen beads, like tiny seed pearls or something, put on them, and so there's lots of things you can do with it. It's just a little bit stronger bond. It comes in different widths as well. Not one I use often, but one that I just kind of keep. What you will need for any type of paper crafting is you will need a good normal run-of-the-mill everyday adhesive, and they come in all sorts of varieties. Again, you don't need all of these varieties. I have a lot because I had a store, and this is years worth of accumulation. This is just a photo tape. It's like a long roll of tape. It's double-sided. You can pull it off, cut it, and stick it down, and then peel off the top, and you could use it for your photos or your cards. This is a disposable. When it's gone, it's not refillable. So it's a more, you know, the things that aren't refillable, your disposable things that once you use them you don't refill them, they're less expensive to start with. So, you know, it's a good idea to try the different ones. These are little squares that you use. You pull down here and out comes your square. and you just stick it down to your paper. These are fun for photos, but you know, until you're just, while you're trying to decide what you want, or when you're just starting out and you're trying to buy all the different things, this is a good option to start with because they're relatively inexpensive, and it gives you a starting point to find what you like and what you don't like. This is a more permanent. This is a permanent adhesive by Tombow, and this actually is also refillable. There's a funny story with that. When I bought it, I bought the refill, not the. I didn't realize that this was a dispenser, and so I bought the refill and then couldn't figure out how to use it, and finally realized that I had bought the refill and not the dispenser, so then I had to go back and buy the dispenser. But this one works really well. I'm really impressed with the way this works. It's very lightweight, it's easy to maneuver, and you can't see it on my paper here, but I just laid down a piece of tape. This was not expensive. It doesn't come with a lot of adhesive, but if you're doing photos, you know, really all you need to do is put it in the corners anyway. You don't need to fill the page with it. So this is a really nice alternative. This is a little more expensive. This is made by Hermit, and I just messed this up a minute ago and ripped it. Excuse me. Excuse me. But it's a glider, and you roll it like this and you use it, and it rolls back up, and it does a great job. You refill it with these little guys, and they run 15 meters. So what is that? Probably 45 feet or so. I think it's 3 feet, or about 3 feet to a meter. I'm not sure. So there's quite a little bit of adhesive in here. It was my faithful standby for years. It's what I used. Really until I got the ATG gun, and I don't know if my dispensers are just getting old, but I was really struggling and fighting with them, and I think it was getting time to replace my dispensers, and I just didn't. I chose to go with the ATG, but it comes in either permanent or removable. This is a removable one, and you might find some applications for that. This is also made by the Hermit company. It's the same concept as the little squares, but you roll it and it puts down one square. A lot of my customers, when I have my store, really like this one. It's very easy to use. Again, it's refillable. Back 8 years ago, it cost about $6.50 for the refill on that, but there's 1,000 little squares on a refill roll, so it will last quite a while if you're only, especially if you're only putting one in the corners, or usually what I would do is put one in the corners and one in the middle. Great alternative. This is what I use the most in my paper crafting. It's big, it's bulky, and honestly, it's not the most convenient thing to carry around. If you were just, the reason I bought the Tombow is because I wanted something small that I could take in a small bag if I was just grabbing a few things to make a couple cards or something like that, or to do some journaling, and so that was convenient for me. But this is probably my favorite tape glider I've ever used. You have a trigger here, you pull on the trigger, you pull back, and it lays down a line of adhesive until you stop. You get refills. This has 2 rolls. Each roll is about 36 yards, which is a lot of adhesives. And when I'm making books and I'm using a lot of adhesive, I go through a lot of HEG. This will run you a little more money. This I actually got as a Christmas gift, but you can get that at Michael's. It's about $30. I had planned to wait and use a coupon so that I could use my 40% off coupon, and that makes it a lot more affordable. And then when I need the refills, honestly, I usually, this refill box, unless it's on sale, is usually $10 for the refills. So again, I wait and I use my 40% off coupon so that I don't have to pay $10 for it. But in the long run, you know, I get so much adhesive. I really like this, and I use this most frequently. I keep it right on my desk. Then we move into the other types. Now there are glue sticks out there, just like the glue sticks that you can get in the school supply section. I don't use them. I don't feel like they create as good of a bond for me, and I want something that when it says permanent, it's really permanent, and I just feel like that as the glue stick ages, it just tends to fall off, and I just don't like to use it. However, I do like glue pens for different things. This is a glue pen by Tombow. There's lots of different varieties out here. This is one by Zig. This is with a larger tip by Zig. I actually bought this one to repurpose my Cricut mats, and that's why I bought such a big one, because normally I wouldn't use that much. But I like using these on die cuts. If I just have one die cut, or like I want to dot an eye and I don't want to drag out my Xyron, or it's just one little eye, then I'll just go ahead and just write on it like you're writing with a pen on this one. I keep it handy right here on my desk. Again, these are different types of glue. They're wetter. They're not like your waxy glue sticks, and they do a really good job. And so it's just something that I keep so that when I need it I have it, but it's not something I use all the time. Usually I'm using my ATG. Then we move into the category of what I call drippy glue, and that just is from being a teacher's aide. It's your wet glue. It's your bond that you're needing to create. Maybe you want something bulky you're adding to a scrapbook page or a card, and you need to make sure you have a really good bond. This is a good alternative. I use them most for especially this one, and this I just wanted to show you. It comes in 2 different sizes. I tried this size to see if I liked it, and I liked it so much I bought this size. But what I didn't like about this size is this size comes with a little brush, and the larger size didn't, so I saved the small bottle so that I could have the brush when I was making my books. It's excellent for my books, adhering my papers to my chipboard. You could also use it to Mod Podge. This is the same concept. This is called Zip Dry, and it's just a fast drying glue. It dries clear, as this also dries clear. Actually, all of these dry clear. This is Tombow Multi, and this one is one I've used for a long time, and I really like it. I really like it if I want to put a bow on and I just want a little tip of the glue. Now this one, oh, it's not dried, but you know, you could even write, and I have written out like a name or something, and then put glitter on top of it because of the tip. But then on the other end, it's got a little bit bigger tip, and you can put a little bit more down, and that's what I use. I have used it for years, and it's still available. It's still a really good glue. I like this one when I'm doing my books. This was just something I was trying. This is Glossy Accent, also by the same company, Ink Essentials. It is a glue, and if I'm using it and I'm in a hurry, I'll often use it for a glue. It's a little bit more expensive than I would prefer to use my glues, but I like it more to put on top of products because it's really glossy and shiny. So if you have like a flower petal and you want to put a dewdrop on it, it just would stand out and look like a dewdrop. And so I really like this, and I keep it handy for those things, and I use it for some of my Tim Holtz fragments and different things. So there's a lot you can do with this because it does dry clear, but it's also a glue if you chose to use it that way. Then I want to move into my foam adhesives. Now these I use when I want dimension on a card, and I have all different kinds of ones here. This is a thicker one. I don't know where I got it. I've had it for a long time, even before I had my store. This is probably 10 or 12 years old, and they just pop out. You can adhere it here, and then you can adhere something bulky on top. It's really thick and dimensional though, so I have to be careful when I'm using that because I don't know how well that would go through the mail. Some of these others are a little less thick, little squares. This one's by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3M. And it came like this. This is, I don't know who this one's by. There's something similar by Recollections. They come in all different sizes. This package actually has a combination, so it's got like a 1/2 inch one, and then it has these little tiny 1/4 inch ones. You can also buy foam and tapes. So when you're deciding on what type of foam you want to buy, you just have to decide, what is my application? Do I want something to really stand off a card, or do I want it to just be subtle? Like this card, I have the little smaller squares on, and it just pops it up off of the card just a little bit, which is also brings me to the last adhesive that I'm going to discuss today, Glue Dots. That's the brand. These are the Glue Dots Mini. They're little tiny, maybe 1/4 inch circles. These are closer to 1/2 inch circles. Oh, it says 1/2 inch. Oh, these say 3/16. These are add a little bit more dimension, maybe not quite as much dimension as the foam, maybe close to the same. And so I just use them when I want to add a little dimension. I also like them for buttons and for ribbons, and you know, if I don't want to mess with the wet glue because it takes a long time to dry, maybe I don't have that time, then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just tie a little tiny bow and stick it down with the glue dots. They're very moldable. I've used them for butterflies, put them on the back of butterflies right in the center of the butterfly, then I can pull their wings up and it looks like they're in flight. So I use these. This is actually a line, a continuous line, if you're looking for a line of the adhesive. So it just depends on what you're doing. This would probably be really good for laying down ribbon across the card like I did here, although I use my ATG just fine. But just some ideas, different products. So again, you don't have to go out. If you're a brand new scrapbooker, don't go out and buy all this stuff. You don't need it. You need to start with a good drippy glue. You need to start with a good tape runner or square or something like that, something that you want to start with to try, and then when you try it, if you don't like it, don't ever buy it again. If you like it, stick with it. Otherwise, maybe try, or you want something a little bit more permanent down the line. You're thinking of your birthday list and you're thinking, oh, who wants to get me one of these little $5 things? Maybe they would buy you an ATG gun. So, you know, it's just, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and you will change your mind. I've changed my mind many times on what type of adhesives I like. I've stuck with one for years and then later changed and decided, you know what, I don't like that one anymore. This one does a better job. So this is, like I said, this is years worth of accumulating adhesives. So find what you like, and if you have any questions, leave a comment, or if you have a better tip, maybe something you do with some of these adhesives, leave a comment. Let us know what you do with your adhesives, which adhesives you like and why you like them. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.